The 2021 NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and I am very excited to make content about it. But until the playoffs actually happen, I have to stretch out a couple of videos until the time comes. And today I figured I would do a video talking about what is soon to come in the playoffs without, actually doing any who is going to win what matchup video, because we don't know the matchups yet, because as of right now, there are only like 3 teams in the East that are solidly in one spot and only a couple of those teams in the West. So many matchups are still subject to change, with for many teams there being only 1 game left in the season. So today I wanted to do a video on the dark horse for the 2021 playoffs. I did this type of video last year about the Houston Rockets. They ended up disappointing in round 2 versus the Lakers because Russell Westbrook underperformed due to injury, as well as potentially having the virus or side effects of that. I mean, not great track record thus far on picking dark horses, but hopefully I'm right this time. And this time around for the 2021 playoffs, my dark horse is the Denver Nuggets. Before I continue on with this video, about half of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you fall into the 50%, then please subscribe. If you're looking for basketball content, I post that here 4 times a week. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second, and it is very much appreciated. Also, real quick, I do want to mention on my second channel, I did a video talking about the play-in tournament and who I think is going to win those play-in matchups, because they seem to be pretty solidified. So I gave my predictions on those, and if you're interested in that, then go check that out. Put that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Okay, I think I'm gonna need to explain right out of the gate that I think some people might think it's weird that I have the Denver Nuggets as a dark horse, being that they are a top seed in their conference and they have the MVP on their team, and I think that is a valid point of view, but the reason why I believe them to be the dark horse is because pretty much nobody is giving this team the level of credit that I think they deserve, and viewing them as the kind of threat that I think they are. Pretty much ever since Jamal Murray tore his ACL, and pretty much the moment it happened, people counted out the Denver Nuggets out of the contender tier. When they talk about what team they think is going to come out of the West, it's probably the Jazz, Suns, or Lakers or Clippers. But the Nuggets, I think, have just as good of a shot of coming out of the conference as any of those teams. Now, this is not to imply or to say that Jamal Murray being out is not a big deal, because it is absolutely a big deal. Him being gone means that the on-ball shot creation for this team is pretty mediocre. Pretty much the best off-the-ball creator as a guard or anything like that on this team now is Monte Morris or Facu Campazzo, who's not really much of a shot creator, just a passer. So not having that option as a guy you can just say, here's the ball, do something with it on the perimeter, that's important. And if you recall last year with the Denver Nuggets, he was a huge factor in how far they went in the playoffs, because he just went nuclear in multiple series. That loss definitely hurts. However, I feel that loss has been somewhat made up for, and that aspect has been ignored. Obviously, first of all, I have to talk about Michael Porter Jr. MPJ, ever since Jamal Murray's injury, has averaged 25 points, 6 rebounds, and has done this on 58% from the field, 51% from 3 on 8 attempts per game, and 81% from the free throw line, which is a 72% true shooting percentage. Michael is one of the best off-the-ball scorers that I have ever seen. He is a ridiculously good knockdown shooter, and at 6'10" and very athletic and very smart cutting off of the ball. Paired that with Jokic's playmaking, he gets so many easy baskets just by existing alongside Jokic, and the pairing of these two, as I've mentioned a million times now, could not be more perfect offensively. MPJ has kind of filled the offensive role of Murray, not in the same way, because as I mentioned, Michael is an off-ball scorer, Murray is an on-ball scorer as well as a playmaker, but in terms of just the pure somebody has to shoot the ball, MPJ has filled the role as the guy who shoots the ball instead of Jamal Murray. Now, these two alongside each other would be a huge threat, and if that's what was happening at the moment, I think many people would think the Nuggets are a very legit threat to win the West. When you go from MPJ alongside Murray and it's just MPJ replacing Murray, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails. But what's important about MPJ replacing Murray is that's not the same this year as what that would have been last year. Once again, the Nuggets did very good in last year's playoffs, but in last year's playoffs, MPJ did not play very much. He played about 20 minutes per game, and he was not playing in the key moments, and there were multiple games where he played like 8 minutes. So the Nuggets went far last year with a very good score and not MPJ. This year, they're going to do that with MPJ as a very good scorer and not Jamal Murray. So the point is, I think offensively, the Denver Nuggets can be about as good this year as they were last year because of how much Michael has stepped up. And again, the Nuggets last year were a Western Conference Finals caliber team. Now I gotta talk about Aaron Gordon. This addition has been pointed out as huge quite a bit as well, but once more, I think this addition, as well as MPJ standing out, is not given enough credit for how impactful it can be. Aaron Gordon has been fantastic in Denver because he really just fits there nearly flawlessly. Offensively, he's a very good cutter, and obviously, just like with MPJ, that pairs well next to Jokic. Jokic is one of the best passers in the league. Then you add two of the best cutters to the same team. That's a deadly-ass offense. Then defensively, Aaron is kind of stuck in the middle in a good way of being able to both defend big men and defend wings. So if you need him to play some post defense on the likes of Anthony Davis, he can do a decent job of that, but he can also defend LeBron James on the perimeter. Now, that's not me saying Aaron is some top 5 defender in the league, but he is a guy who can be a Swiss Army knife and defend in multiple ways and many impactful ways, and that player existed last year for Denver and Jeremy Grant, but he's been replaced now with Gordon, who I think is actually a little bit better defensively. Although not quite as good offensively because Jeremy could actually space the floor, but I think it's a pretty good replacement. So you add on to it that you have a replacement for Jamal Murray in some regards. You have a very good defensive and perfect just fitting forward in general added to the team. And then you add on to it that Jokic is better than he was last year by a really big margin. This year really has just been him playing like he does in the playoffs for the entire season. So assuming he's able to elevate himself like he has in the playoffs in the past, he's going to be even better than what he has been in the regular season. And may I remind you that what Jokic has been in the regular season has been a nearly 50-40-90 28-point triple-double per game. It's not quite those averages, but it's close. And what the fuck is that stat line? So if he can elevate himself like 20-30% like he does in the playoffs already and be, I don't know, a 33-point triple-double on definitely 50-40-90, I don't know. If he's able to make an elevation like that as well, have multiple great series, no team in the league can guard him, that's going to take them even further. Now, without Murray, everything I'm saying is basically implying that the Nuggets are going to be about as good as they were last year, if not a little bit better. Not having Murray's on-ball shot creation is a really big factor, and that hit definitely hits hard. But they did make up for it in some regards. However, not enough to actually be a convincingly better team than last year. But last year's team made the Western Conference Finals, and it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that they would lose to the Lakers in that conference finals. But this year, the Lakers are rough going to the playoffs. They don't have their chemistry. They've been injured all year. There's different hierarchies that could be getting in the way of each other. We've already seen bits and pieces of that with LeBron trying to come back. And LeBron doesn't look the best coming back. He got injured as soon as he came back again. Things are a little bit iffy in Los Angeles. They're still my pick to make the finals just because I'm going to bet on LeBron and Anthony Davis, but there is reason to have hesitance and doubt about the Lakers. At the very least, the Lakers are not nearly the obstacle that they were last year. So, if they met in a Western Conference Finals, or depending on the seeding, like a second round, or even potentially depending on the seeding, a first round matchup, I think they could beat them in a 7-game series. And after that, I think they're better than every team in the Western Conference, or really think they could at the very least beat them. So I definitely think the Nuggets are a potential finals team, and no one's really giving them that credit right now. And if they did make it out of the Western Conference, I don't think they're winning the finals, because I don't think you could beat the Bucks or the Nets with this team. If for some reason it was like the Sixers or something, or the Heat, I'm going to pick them But other than that, I think they'd probably lose in the finals. But in general, do not count out the Denver Nuggets just simply because they lost Jamal Murray, because this team has a lot of depth to it. MPJ breaking out, the addition of Aaron Gordon, Jokic getting better. This team can still give your team a very difficult 7-game series and even win. So do not underestimate the Nuggets. They could absolutely shock some people, and for that reason, they are my dark horse for the 2021 NBA playoffs. For the playoffs that are coming, by the way, if you are not subscribed to my second channel, for last year's playoffs, or technically 9 months ago's playoffs, I did a recap of most of the big games, or at least for the finals. I'm doing that stuff on the second channel now. Pretty much every playoff game, I might miss a few of the lame matchups, like 1 versus 8, where it's not going to be interesting. I might miss a few of those, but other than that, I'm going to cover pretty much every playoff game and talk about each game on that channel. So go subscribe to my second channel if you are not already. As for the actual playoff content I'm going to be doing on this channel, I'm going to be doing previews for each matchup. And then after series are over, I'm going to do videos like, what's next for this team that lost? Things like that. So hopefully you look forward to that. I mentioned in a previous video, if you did not know already, I am postponing the deep dive series until the off season, and conveniently the off season is going to be happening right around when I'm moving out. So it's going to be right around the right time for me to just fully dive into the content there and make it the best it can be. So yeah, that's what's going on for me for the next month and a half or whatever, for those that care. Anyways, shout out to Rudy for editing this video. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.